This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 115, and this week I am very pleased to be joined by a brand new guest. Hello, Hayley.
Hello.
Very happy to have you on for the first time. Why don't you start with new guests? I always like to talk about people's history with wrestling, and I guess with the topic today, which is obviously New Japan. So, how'd you get into wrestling / New Japan?
I got into wrestling in about 2013 with WWE. There was some girl on Tumblr that I followed for like K-pop and One Direction related things. And she started posting a bunch of pictures and GIFs and stuff of CM Punk, and I was like, who is this guy? He's like he makes all these cartoony faces and he has these ridiculous tattoos, and I was like kind of interested. So I just turned on Raw one day, and then I just kept watching until
that was kind of mean because she got you into CM Punk like right before he left.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the first episode of Raw I watched was the one right after like SummerSlam with like the Daniel Bryan and John Cena match. So like I kind of like jumped in right at the start of the Daniel Bryan story, and then like at the end of CM Punk's run. So it quickly kind of switched over to being like a Daniel Bryan stan. But that was fun. I remember like that story was like crazy and what got me like hooked into wrestling. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And of course with WWE, it just all went downhill after that, you know. And I don't watch WWE anymore. So I haven't like watched it since the WrestleMania before this most recent WrestleMania, the one with like The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. That was like the last time I watched WWE.
Wait, wasn't that 2 years ago? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it was like that was the one. I don't know. Oh, was it? That was the last one I watched.
It might be 2 years ago. There was a time where I could like name every single match on every single WrestleMania card, and now I'm just like, what Mania was the main event of again? I don't fucking know. I think it was 2 years ago.
Was that? I think that was the last one I watched. Maybe it was a different one. Was that the same one where they had like Shane? Yeah, that was the same one where they like Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan like against like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn or something. Remember that match? I don't really remember much.
That was last year. Yeah, the main event for that one. Let's see. I'm checking this now because I'm curious.
I may have like pieced out before the main event then.
Yeah, the main event was Brock and Roman for that one. That was,
I never watched that match.
Yeah, so there you go. But yes, that was 2 years ago. That was like 2018.
Okay, yeah, that's the last time I watched WWE.
Yeah. Well, you're not missing much, honestly, unless you really like I don't know, The Fiend or something.
No. No. If I wanted to like see that, I'd just like watch a Slipknot video or something, you know? Like I don't need to watch the WWE version.
It's just fun to say The Fiend out loud.
The Fiend. Yeah.
But how'd you get into New Japan?
Gone to New Japan 2015. Actually, the first time I watched it was at one of the like panels that you hosted at Anime Next.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
I had no idea before we came on the air here. You could have mentioned that.
Yeah, no, like I knew who you were before like we like actually like got to know each other, because I'd like seen you at these panels, but like I didn't really like know you. But now we know each other, which is good.
Yeah, that is cool.
But yeah, I had been to the panel the year previous, but like I didn't like watch New Japan after that. But then like 2015 one, you played part of Ibushi versus Nakamura, and I was like, oh my god, I have to watch this. And
wow. I had no idea it was such a huge part of your origin story.
Yes. Like I like really didn't think about it until I was thinking like, you know, when did I really start watching New Japan? Because like you know, I guess I should know these type of things. I was thinking about like a few months ago, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's right, that's what happened.
Wow.
So, but yeah, you played part of that, and then I went home and I watched the entire thing, and I was like, oh my god, I love this.
It's like one of the best matches of all time. Pretty much got Nakamura into the Observer Hall of Fame like single-handedly, I think. But
oh yeah. It's really funny because when I first watched that match, my favorite was like Nakamura, but now it's like, of course, I'm like crazy obsessed with Ibushi. Like he was my second favorite at the time, but now it's like Ibushi is like
kind of fun.
Is like, you know, everything for me.
Well, I'm glad I asked about your origin story, because that has to be an Omakase first, that you got into it during a panel. By the way, I didn't tell you this yet. They approved me for a New Japan panel at Anime NYC this year.
Oh,
that just happened like 2 days ago. Yeah, it's Friday at 4:30. So
Friday at 4:30. I hope that's not like around the same time that I have to be like lining up for the concert or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go straight from the panel to the lineup for the concert, because I think the concert's at 7:30, I think. So I'm gonna like basically like host my own panel and then immediately exit to go line up for the concert. But,
yeah. I mean, I'm like sitting in one of the back sections anyway, so it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I have to go line up and be at barrier. So I don't think it'll matter too much for me. Yeah. I don't know about you. I don't know what ticket you got.
I'm in section. Yeah, I got A. So I don't have VIP, so I'm not gonna be like on the guardrail either. But
yeah.
But that's a good transition, because people love anime talk, and you were just saying off the air you could definitely do anime talk.
Oh yeah.
So I know you're a big Love Live person. I've never watched the show, so sell me and sell the listener on why they should watch Love Live.
Should watch Love Live because it's the greatest anime to ever exist. But I guess the thing I like about Love Live is I've always liked Japanese idols. So like they've always appealed to me, like the idea of like, you know, a bunch of like girls working together and like, you know, being like bigger than like the sum being bigger than their individual parts. Kind of like they're not perfect, but they have like this energy and this excitement. And Love Live does a really good job at capturing what's so exciting to me about idols. And I like that, like, you know, I like the music a lot. I think the music's really, really great. You know, it goes through a lot of different genres, but it's all like super like catchy J-pop, you know. And I think the characters are super tropey, but like still like they don't feel like they're just cynically pandering. They still feel like kind of heartwarming. And also there's a lot of like, you know, shippy stuff between girls. Obviously that's always good, you know, because I'm like a lesbian, so of course I love that and I eat that shit up. And I also really love that, you know, you connect with like the voice actresses as well. Like they perform live concerts like as the characters. So it's not just like getting into like the characters of Love Live, it's also the voice actresses, and like you get to see them like, you know, grow throughout the project and become like better performers and watch them become closer. So there's like dual aspect of that. And the fandom's really good too, actually. I got into fandom mainly through the mobile game, and people there are like really nice. I have to say, like Love Live fans are like insane, but for the most part, they're like really cool with other Love Live fans. It's just if you insult Love Live, it's like, you know.
I should mention too that I said I didn't watch the show, but I actually did play the mobile game a little bit. When they first like translated it, I guess I played around with it for a little while. It did seem pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. I've fallen out of playing it a little bit recently because I got obsessed with the Review Starlight mobile game. But I still like, you know, I listen to the music from the anime every day. You know, I'm always like watching, you know, videos and stuff. So it's like I'm obsessing with Love Live in different ways than playing the mobile game. What?
I was going to say, of course, you're going to see them live next month at Anime NYC, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I assume it's not the entire group, right? It's like a subgroup.
Yeah, so it's Aqua, and then they have 3 subgroups. And this is Guilty Kiss, which is like the kind of like cooler subgroup. They do like mainly like rockish or R&B-ish kind of like infused pop music, as opposed to like, I guess the other groups, like one's really chirpy, and then like they do kind of like, I don't know, it's really hyper music, and then there's another one that does kind of chiller, like soft sounding electropop, kind of like with Love Live. There's like 3 attributes: cute, no, not cute, smile, cool, and pure. So like the subgroups are also like surrounded around those ideas. Like the attributes
now,
are
which one is your favorite?
My favorite character?
No, your favorite subgroup.
Oh, Azalea, which is the one that my favorite character is in. They're like the kind of, they're more like a soft, pure electropop group. But
where would Guilty Kiss rank for you? Was it at the bottom, or they were the number 2?
They're second. I listen to Guilty Kiss a lot. So their music is really like energetic, like kind of like rock music, and it's fun to just like dance along to and stuff. So I'm
very much looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm really excited just that any like Aqua related, Love Live related anything's coming to like the East Coast. Like they're always at Anime Expo and all of that, and never on the East Coast. So finally we're getting something.
Now I could have seen them 2 years ago, but I ended up picking. I actually knew more about Idolmaster than Love Live, so I ended up picking the concert with Idolmaster. So, but I almost went to Aqua. I guess I could have. It just didn't quite happen. But next year, because I'm going to Anime Expo next year, if they come back, I'm going to go. I think, just to say I did it. But
yeah,
we'll see. I guess
we'll see.
What kind of any other anime you've been watching like this in the new season yet?
I haven't picked up anything in the new season yet. I just finished all my last season shows, and I guess I usually wait like a few episodes to see what's good so far. So I don't know if anything yet has really stood out. I don't know. Have you watched anything new yet?
So I have actually. Do you like isekai or no?
It depends. Normally, like the current kind of isekai, like no, but I really like things like Fushigi Yugi. So I guess like there's some isekai like that, or like Inuyasha, like those kind of shows I like.
I was gonna. Well, I don't know if you'd like this one then because it is very much new isekai, but it is like an all girl like new isekai, which I think is
Well, I
very
might like
unique
it.
in the current batch. Yeah, so it's
I'm
called. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna like butcher the Japanese name. So this is what Watashi no Oyoku wa Kinichi de te Itayone. Just like, didn't I tell you to make my abilities average in the next life?
Oh yeah, I've heard of
So,
that one. Yeah.
but yeah, the first episode was like really, really cute and like, just really funny. So it's like very much like another like lighthearted isekai, very kind of similar to the time I was reincarnated as a slime, but
Oh
this
yeah.
time like centered around like an all girl troupe. So that one's my favorite of the ones I've seen in the first episode of so far.
Okay, I'll have to check that out then because yeah, all girl. If it's all girl, it's fine. It's like what I don't like is kind of like the reason I don't like a lot of new isekai is because it's like centered on like these like kind of average male characters who like suddenly have like a bunch of like beautiful like magic women surrounding them that are like all like oh, and I'm like I don't buy this. I'm like no way. But if it's all girls, then it's fine.
I know, like fucking Overlord, which I tried to watch it. I gave up after 3 episodes because just like this guy sucks, and like everyone acts like he's the greatest thing of all time. It's very like, or I think he like reprograms one of them to be like subservient to him. It's like very gross. But,
What the hell?
it's like really kind of gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really popular one. But the only other thing I've seen in the first episode of so far is Blade of the Immortal, the new remake that's on Amazon, which is good, but also like incredibly violent. So, gotta recommend to anybody listening, don't check that out if you're squeamish, because there's a lot going on there.
I mean, I'm good with violent. I might check it out. As long as it's like violent, like, like just like bloody and like fighting and not like weird, like sexy violence. That I don't like.
It's definitely not sexy. I mean,
Okay.
it is very gross. It is definitely not it's like a revenge. It's like a very like samurai revenge tale kind of thing, and it's like, yeah, it's very violent, but
All right.
it has like
I'm
a
gonna,
very all-star. It's like an all-star team like making it apparently. So, but yeah, it's like it's an interesting one. And then the other thing I've been watching lately, which is not new, but it was actually from last year, but I missed it, was Wotaku no Koe wa Muzukashi, which is like dating is hard for otaku.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to watch that one. That
Yeah, it's
sounds
like
good.
it is really cute and funny, and I find it's just like very rarely do you get characters like that on TV, even in anime, because it's like you have like two Fujoshi, and you have a guy otaku who's like, I don't know, like he's like a total nerd, but like he's not. I don't know how to say this. He's not like so antisocial that you can't even talk to him, which I feel like is the only kind of male nerd they really show.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
and he's still like an actual nice guy down in the middle. When you get right down to it, which not quote unquote nice guy.
Oh
But
yeah.
but yeah, it's just like really different kind of characters, and really I think goes into, it's like an age group too that's not really covered a lot in anime. It's like people in their 20s like working at like this office. So I definitely recommend that one. It's a very different type of like romance / like slice of life thing. So
I
those
definitely
are
like
my
I like anything with characters who are like in their 20s, like that are like realistic because then it's like, oh, I can relate to this. This is like when I watched like Gretzko, I was like, oh my god, even though this is an entirely different country, it's an entirely different culture, I have had this experience before, which was like, normally in anime it's like, yeah, I've never piloted a giant robot and I'm also not like 14. So
but we're all Shinji in our hearts, so.
Well, I actually was 14 when I watched Evangelion, so maybe that's not the example I should have used. So
you could have used like Victory. You could have used like Victory Gundam, where the pilot's like fucking 10.
Oh god!
Like that was where they got really they just kept getting younger or something. And by the time we got to Victory Gundam, and it's like a 10-year-old in like the fucking in the most like grisly one he ever did, because it's basically like the French Revolution in space. I don't know how to describe it.
Oh my god! Which
why do we have it? Victory Gundam.
Okay.
It was like the last one Tomino did, thankfully, until he came back for Turn A. But yeah, this was like the height of his depression, and it's just like, there's a sequence early on where this like small child sees like a nightmare of tons of people being beheaded by guillotines, and just like, how is this aired presumably for children? What the fuck are we doing?
I know. Sometimes I had that thought when I watch anime. I'm like, wait, hold on. This was not like a 3 a.m. one. This was a primetime one. Are you sure?
It was like Saturday afternoon for the kiddies. Just this kid imagining people getting beheaded. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, it was really bizarre, but I don't know. I guess you're allowed to do that. If you sell enough robots, you can do anything, I guess. Sell them model kits. But yeah, so there's anime chat, since people seem to enjoy that. I guess we should go ahead and get to the actual reason people are here, which is the King of Pro Wrestling review. So, a couple notes before we get into the actual show. First of all, I think the most obvious thing is, if you didn't hear, there was a typhoon in Japan. Very, very sorry to hear about anybody that lost their life. And I think the death toll was at like 37 last time I heard. Yeah, so it got up there finally, but like it was like in single digits for a while. So I assume they just were able to confirm more dead. So that's very sad. There was a lot of damage. For a little while I wasn't even sure there was going to be a show at all, but I guess the trains were back running, I think, on Sunday by like 1 p.m. So once I heard that, I figured they would probably be able to run the show. The dojo got completely flooded. I don't know if you saw those pictures.
Oh yeah, I saw those, and they were talking about that a lot on English commentary. I don't know which track you listened to.
Yeah, I listened to English.
Yeah, they were talking about that one a lot, and I saw the pictures online. I was like, oh my god. It was. Yeah. It's just, it's upsetting.
But I mean, it's you never want to hear about people dying, but I guess it could have been a lot worse. So
yeah.
Hopefully they're able to recover and rebuild. Unfortunately, I'm actually surprised there were more people that couldn't make it, but Zack Sabre Jr. and Jon Moxley both didn't make it in time. Everybody else did, though. So, like, because I know Kevin Kelly and Lance Archer and Will Ospreay. I'm trying to think who else was flying in. That might be it, actually, because a lot of the other foreigners live there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they all made it in time, but Moxley and Zach did not make it. So that resulted in a bunch of changes. Zach was supposed to be in a 6-man tag. With Suzuki going against LIJ, and Jon Moxley, of course, was supposed to defend the U.S. title against Juice Robinson. So the U.S. title match got changed to, well, first of all, Moxley got stripped to the U.S. title, which, was a little surprising at first, but they did bring it up, and there is precedent where, like, basically the rule is if you're the champion and you're scheduled for defense, you can't defend it for any reason, then they strip you. Because
it's like unfair. It's like unfair, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, I guess it makes sense. Keep things moving.
Yeah, I mean, the last time it happened was when Togi Makabe got the flu and couldn't do a defense against Ishii for the Never title, so they changed it to Ishii versus someone, for a, to a decision match, which isn't really fair either. I mean, he got the flu. It's not like he was.
Yeah.
But this like you're saying could be even more unfair if you want to look at it that way, because there was a fucking typhoon.
Yeah.
John Moxley can't do much about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was changed to Juice versus changed to Juice and Lance Archer for the US title. So Archer came out of his tag match. A bunch of stuff got shuffled around. Poor Bushi and Taguchi ended up off the show completely.
I was like, when I saw there's no Bushi, I was like, there's so much injustice against Bushi right now. He doesn't get to be in tag league, and now he's kicked off of a show. It's like, this guy can't catch a break. Really annoying.
It is true. I mean, you were there. He was like surprisingly popular in America. Like,
yeah,
they liked them from Bushi.
I mean, I love Bushi, so I was pretty happy about that.
I like Bushi too. I don't know why he gets so much hate sometimes, but
does he get hate? I feel like people just mostly like don't talk about him a lot.
You'll see some people bring him up as like one of the worst people on the roster, which I'm like, I don't think that's true. Like I don't like the worst people on the roster to me is like Yujiro and like Fale and
the worst.
And I'm like, Bushi is like way above those folks. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so there was a bunch of card changes. Basically, 6-mans became regular tags, which is probably honestly an improvement. And obviously the US title match changed. The one thing that like was a little weird is they changed the card order and moved that Goto white 6-man like right in between all those singles matches, which I was like, I don't know why they changed that. They didn't have to. They didn't really have to be changed.
I thought it was weird.
It was really weird.
I mean, it kind of worked out for me because I kind of needed like a break. Like I was like, oh, I can go, like make some more coffee or something. So I kind of like did spend part of that match just kind of like, standing by my coffee maker, like looking at my like laptop screen from afar, like not being able to hear anything because didn't have my headphones in. So that match was kind of like, whatever. But everything else, I was like really glued to the screen. So it was good to have a break.
Yeah. So did you watch this live or no?
Yeah, I watched it live. The only match that I missed live was the first one. So when you said, "Oh, I'm still watching the show," I was like, "Oh wait, I never watched the opening match." So I went back and I watched that.
Okay, well that worked out, I guess.
Yeah.
The other big thing is the attendance, which, despite again, we just mentioned there was a typhoon. Presumably, some people who planned on going, probably couldn't make it because of the typhoon, or would have gone, because the typhoon didn't make it. But they still announced 9,573, which is pretty damn good. Again, in the middle of a typhoon.
Yeah.
Last year it did 9,172. So despite typhoon, this was up from last year, which I can't say I'm really surprised because despite what some people in the West might think of him, Sanada is very popular, and obviously, everybody knows Okada's popular, and then Ibushi-EVIL is also a very strong semi-main. So
yeah, and of course, last year was like literally the worst main event. So.
Last year was like awful. It's true.
I'm pretty sure Cody is like an anti-draw in Japan. Like that has to be it, because like they're okay with Kenny, and obviously Ibushi is a draw. So, I guess
Cody wasn't. I was going to say, wasn't Cody? I guess Cody was in the semi-main. Cody was in the semi-main of that Dontaku Night 1 that drew really badly in 2018 when he was facing Ibushi.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Page in the main.
I forgot that match. Oh god. Yeah, I like blocked out most of the whole like Bullet Club feud, and now it's like coming back. I'm like, oh yeah, that was like so terrible.
I mean, that's like the number one reason. Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's like the number one reason why I thought 2018 was bad. It was like pretty much just the Bullet Club feud.
Yeah, no, same. For me, it was like the Bullet Club feud, and then they're like, it just started off bad and it just kept getting worse. It felt like, like it started off bad with like the like Naito like losing, and then it's just like I'm like, it can't get worse from here, and then it did. It did.
Yeah. Well, but 2019 has been a lot better because we haven't, if anything, we haven't had, a Bullet Club Civil War the entire year, and it doesn't feel like Kota's being wasted. So.
Yeah. Like, I haven't loved 2019, but it's like a significant improvement from last year. So to me that's at least like, something. I don't hate it this year.
I think I like it a lot more than you do, but it's still for sure way, way better than last year.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to go reverse order here, especially since the top part of this card was, pretty big. So let's start with the Okada-SANADA main event for the IWGP Heavyweight title. This was their fourth meeting of the year. Listeners will know that I, really enjoyed two of the meetings, the New Japan Cup match and the G1 final. Oh, not G1 final, the G1 match, both of which I went 4 3/4 stars on. I did not like the Dontaku title match nearly as much. It was below 4 on that. What did you think of the first 3 meetings? Did you like 2 of them as much as I did? Or did you just love all of them? Did you hate all of them?
I'm kind of like a little like on the entire feud. I actually don't think I watched which one? I didn't watch one of them. I know I watched the G1 one, and I'm pretty sure I watched the New Japan Cup one, which I liked, but I wasn't like super into. Like, I liked it, and then like it just feel like, I don't know. I feel like the feud just isn't that interesting to me. I think like they're too similar to me to be like interesting, because they're both like really stoic. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I guess I need something really flamboyant to kind of offset that. Like you see like Okada versus like Tanahashi, and Tanahashi is like, like has like a, loud, not afraid to speak out, really flamboyant, and then like Okada's the perfect foil. Like even with Kenny, like I mean Kenny's obnoxious, but it works like when it's against Okada. Whereas I feel like with Sanada, it's kind of like Okada's the more emotional one here, which is really strange dynamic to me, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like a good match to watch in terms of like, obviously they're both super athletic, and it's not like it's like, oh my god, this is terrible. It just feels like kind of like not quite there for me. It doesn't like really hit where I need it to. Excepting like at the end when Sanada was like crying, I finally felt like, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe if I rewatch it, I'll get something from it. But I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't quite hit me on the level I want it to.
Yeah, I can hear you. I really liked, like I said, 2 of the 3, and this one I was going to say is like right in between the ones I really liked and the ones I didn't really like. Yeah. Like I thought for long stretches, the problem I have with it basically is I thought it started out really, really hot. Okada goes right for that shotgun dropkick at the bell.
Yeah.
The match starts super fast, and they go for the moonsault and the rainmaker and the skull end, and the crowd's going nuts. And then I thought it like kind of slowed down artificially, and Okada, we get like 5 minutes in, we get that really long Okada chin lock.
Yeah.
So it just felt like, okay, at that point, it's like I was honestly kind of worried when I first saw how much time was left that they were going to do the 60-minute draw that people had speculated, but as the match
I was nervous.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I was nervous about that too, the entire match.
As the match went on, I thought it was a little less likely because it didn't feel like they were going for some stuff too soon. But, it still went very long, as we'll mention. But yeah, I mean, like Sanada, he used a one-man, there was like a one-man magic color used on the guardrail on the floor, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then we got the big dive over the guardrail by Okada. I will say my most hated spot in the match was right after that, where like Okada like stops Red Shoes from counting Sanada out, which is, I think that's kind of, first of all, it's kind of stupid when you think about it. It's like your title's on the line here, man. You should just take the count out. But second of all, if he goes on to win, which of course he did, it kind of makes Sanada look like a geek because this man like saved you from getting counted out, and then he's just like beats you anyway.
Yeah.
But then at that point, Sanada just keeps like selling. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that it just, I guess it's like the idea is like, oh look, Okada's like, he really takes Sanada seriously, and he really wants to fight him, and he's not like as arrogant, like in the same way that it's not about like, oh yeah, I can beat this guy. That's about, oh, I want to test myself or something. But yeah, I agree. Like it's still pretty like ridiculous. Like it doesn't make sense if the whole point of a match is winning a match.
Yeah. 15 minutes in is where I think it really picked up. You got like a big comeback from Sanada, including a dive to the floor. I put him in the Paradise Lock and, kind of killed a little bit of time with that. But then Okada came out of nowhere with the shotgun drop kick as a counter, which is, I think, the coolest that move has ever looked as a counter. Then we had our first real issue with the match here, where Sanada started locking in the skull end, and he keeps like locking it in, but the crowd just doesn't buy that that's going to be the finish. I just think I guess it was too early for skull end. And this is where you get into the issue where, like, I think New Japan has trained fans on these big IWGP title matches to know that they're going to go like at least 30 minutes, which is not necessarily a good thing to train your fans to, because, here you have like a skull. What do you think about it? A finisher, because this was like 20 minutes in the match. A finisher 20 minutes in the match, your crowd should be able to buy that it's going to win. And it's not just that they couldn't believe Sanada was going to win, because later on when Sanada had a chance to win, the crowd actually did buy the near falls and stuff. It's just more like they didn't think it was going to be over 20 minutes in. And at this point, like Okada, he like struggles out of the skull and he hits a Rainmaker. And I rewound this to make sure it was a real Rainmaker. Like he did the spin and everything. But when he got one arm on Sanada, again, the crowd did not think a Rainmaker was going to end the match. And we're like 25 minutes in at this point. So it was a very weird near fall, because I can't remember the last time a real Rainmaker like got no reaction like that.
Yeah, it's like, I've been kind of having that problem too, and with this match specifically, like I thought they were gonna go like at least like 45 minutes, because people are like, oh yeah, they're gonna do a 60-minute draw, and I'm like, that sounds unlikely, but I'm gonna prepare for it to be like at least 45 minutes. And then it was so like when they announced it was like 35 minutes, I was like, oh good, it's like finally gonna get to like the big end sprint. And then it ended like 3 minutes later. So it felt like kind of like it's like I felt like I could have enjoyed the match more if I hadn't like expected it to be longer than it was. Like some matches I just enjoy more like after they've happened and I know what the result is, and I feel like this is one of those where like I don't have to be like nervous about it being like a slog. I can just enjoy it and know what I'm going to get.
Yeah. But I thought the work itself was actually really good, especially from the 15-minute part. And here, like, once Sanada goes to Skull End again, there's not a lot of crowd buying on it. But after he like puts him out and then goes to the double moonsault and Okada gets his knees up, now the crowd, for whatever reason, is like going nuts. Like all of a sudden, they're just like on a gigantic Sanada chant. So it almost feels like now the crowd's like, okay, we're like 30 minutes in. Now we buy that this match could end. Which again, I think is a problem that New Japan needs to like maybe retrain their fans and have a couple IWGP title matches go 20 minutes so they get back, they at least think it's a possibility it could end before 30. But everything after this, like the crowd's going nuts.
Yeah.
Okada, like he rope walks out of the Skull End. He hits the spinning tombstone. But Sanada, I think he might be the first person to ever counter the Rainmaker after the spinning tombstone, because that move, ever since Okada used it, has been like complete death.
Yeah.
So he does counter out of the Rainmaker. Like he kicks his way out of it after that. He goes for a Japanese leg clutch hold, and the crowd thinks Sanada is about to pin Okada with a flash pin to win the title. Like they go nuts for that near fall. They go back to Skull End. The crowd, again, actually is now believing that Sanada could win. Like, they're really into it at this point. And Okada gets out, though, and he hits, like, a drop kick. we get the 35-minute call, and then Okada goes to the tombstone again. Sanada keeps trying to turn it into Skull End, and then probably the coolest spot of the match, because Okada can't get the tombstone, he just like flips him over into like a modified Michinoku driver.
Oh,
that
yeah.
It looked really cool, and it looked really natural for where Sanada's position was. So like, sometimes these reversal sequences can look pretty hokey, but this one looked perfect.
It was really
and after
good.
that, he hits the Rainmaker for the pin. I thought they said 37-28, but here the website says 36-21. But either way, I thought this, I mentioned like the problems with the crowd, and it was a little boring in like the first 10 to 15 minutes. I would actually say from like 5 to 15, because the first 5 minutes are actually really fun.
Yeah.
I liked it enough to go 4 1/4. I thought it was, by the end, an excellent match, and the best match on the show. But like, not up to the level of the two Okada-SANADA matches that I thought were the best of the year. But still, a really good match by the end. And I think the crowd getting behind Sanada to the degree they did at the end, even in a match where, like, realistically, you have to know Okada's winning, I think it's a really good sign for Sanada.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, this year has been, like, such a major change for, like, Sanada and, like, his whole, like, not just, like, his character, but also his look, and, like, even like his wrestling feels a little different. Like, he feels a little bit more energetic, I guess, ever since he kind of veered less into like the like, oh, I never speak and I never make any facial expressions type of thing. And I think it's really good that the fans are reacting to that there's like that it's actually being successful, like they're building up someone and it feels natural. Like I don't know, I'm not making much sense, I guess.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think there is definitely a change there, since like he's showing more charisma.
Yeah, and I like it. Like, it's kind of, I always felt like Sanada was like, I'm like, oh, he's good, but I don't really care. And now I'm starting to feel like I think I care about Sanada, like, beyond just like, oh, he's cool,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that goes for a lot of the crowd too. I think there's like more and more of a connection.
Yeah.
And again, even though there are definitely Western fans, especially on Twitter, who would have you believe that Sanada is like the worst wrestler on the planet and nobody cares about him and whatever. And it's like, I've seen him be way over in Japan, and he was really over in America too.
Yeah.
The shows we're at, like, the crowd loves him. So I mean, whatever, you can say anything you want about Sanada. He has no charisma. Da, da, da. Like, he has a connection with fans on two continents now. So like, I don't really know what to tell you at that point. Clearly, something he's doing is working, even if you personally, like Mr. Person on Twitter, isn't into it. The semifinal, and I guess the reason why I had you on for this episode, since you are like one of the number one Kota Ibushi fans I know, and it's Ibushi in a significant match. Kota Ibushi and Evil. What did you think of this? Like, first of all, I'd love to ask you about the build to this, because I feel like there's some thoughts that maybe Ibushi maybe hasn't been the most exciting, and like or like the most, I'm just trying to think of the way to put this. Like, Evil beating Ibushi twice in a row and those tag matches leading up to this almost feels like it's cooled him off a little bit as G1 winner. So I guess I'd like to know your thoughts on that. And maybe, does it bother you at all that, like, we got, Ibushi finally wins the G1. It's going to be his big moment at the Dome, but everything feels a little more complicated because of the double title thing. It feels a little weird that we're doing Okada Ibushi again when we just did that during the G1, which they've never, they don't do that really. I think the last time they did that, they had a G1 match and then the same match on 1-4 for the title. I think it was like 2011 or something. So it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels kind of weird as a IWGP title match. So does that bother you at all that, like, this in Ibushi's big year, getting his big G1 moment and all that, it's during this more complicated, like, 2-dome thing, and it feels like maybe it's kind of Naito's thing too?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, it's been like, it's just in general, I feel like been a really weird year for Ibushi, where it's like he's been like materially really successful, but I also feel like I don't know, I feel like there's a lack of excitement in a way kind of surrounding him. Like people are more excited about the idea that like Naito will have 2 belts, and like no one really cares as much with like Ibushi. Like people are like Ibushi's just a way to like get to like something with Naito, I guess. You know, I feel like I don't know. It's been like weird because it's like, oh, when he won like the IC title, it's like, oh, he's gonna have an IC title run. It's gonna be really good, and then it's gonna be like Naito's year for the G1, and of course, like none of that happened. Like, you know, it's like the complete opposite right now, and it's not really. Honestly, I feel like this G1 win isn't really like serving Ibushi well because yeah, it just feels like he's in the background. Like I feel like there's like no results for him at Wrestle Kingdom that's gonna be like fully satisfactory. Like even if he wins 2 titles, it's like he's still gonna be like in the shadow of, oh, Naito didn't do it. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, Ibushi did it. People are gonna be like, oh, that's nice for him, and not like, oh my god, this is like you're not gonna have like fans like crying and happiness or whatever. Like when like Okada beat Naito at Wrestle Kingdom and people were like politely clapping for Okada, like that's what like my fear is what's gonna happen if Ibushi does win double titles, and like I don't want that at all. Like I wouldn't be able to deal with that. Like, you know, like I'd be like, oh, it's cool that he won, but I guess for me, it's like titles aren't as important as like seeing like other fans like be as excited about him as I am. And so seeing like that people are just like, oh, it's nice, but he's not Naito is really frustrating.
Now let's say the scenario happens where like this all is what people think it might be, and it's all a way to get to Naito double titles at the Dome. Would that, first of all, I guess, would that bother you as an Ibushi fan? And second of all, would it still bother you as an Ibushi fan if Ibushi wins the heavyweight from Naito like 3 months later, which is kind of why I suspect it's going to happen?
It would still bother me no matter what, because it would be like, it feels like Ibushi won the G1 for like not really much. It's either he's gonna like beat Okada and then lose to Naito the next day, which is like honestly to me the worst scenario, or he'll just lose to Okada on the way to like Naito's win, which then it's like he's an afterthought completely. So I just feel like there's no winning scenario for Ibushi here. I feel like he's kind of just in general, like, I don't know. It's like, it feels like this kind of monkey's paw situation for me where it's like, oh, I want Ibushi to be really successful. And of course, it's being given to me in the most complicated and like frustrating manner possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, believe me, I know about the similar struggles with Naito.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I really wanted Naito to win the G1 too. Like, I was like, it was so weird when like Ibushi won it, and I just like, I was more frustrated than like, and confused than like just straight up excited. Like, I was like, I felt like I couldn't fully be happy about it, which made me just angrier.
But I feel like the crowd almost shares that confusion, kind of, because it feels like Ibushi's pops aren't like as loud as they should be, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe even in America and Japan, but yeah, I mean, the crowd was into it when he came out to challenge Okada at the very end.
Yeah.
But I think the crowd also just kind of feels like, well, we're not sure where this is going, but okay. Okada finally like mentioned, so we should mention too that the post match for the main event, Okada, I guess, finally mentioned the double title thing for the first time, Although he didn't mention it as his own goal, he just kind of said, like, Ibushi, who do you think you are for saying you're going to win both titles? You can't even beat me for the heavyweight title. So Okada started and said that he actually wants to do this, which I find interesting.
I think it's good because it's kind of like this whole double title thing is it's just like everyone saying they want it. So I kind of like that Okada's setting himself apart and he's like, I only care about the title I'm holding. I only care about the heavyweight title,
But then what happens? What happens if he beats Kota on 1-4 and has to fight Naito for both belts on 1-5? Like, is he gonna refuse? This is a little weird. I
know, it's really weird. It's just like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like this whole like 2 Wrestle Kingdom thing. Luckily, when they announced it, I was like, already like, okay, I think this is gonna like be messy, and then it's somehow even messier than I thought it would be. Like, I was kind of hoping.
I don't think anyone. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was like kind of hoping. My hope was that like night 2 would be like the big heavyweight match, and night 1 they do, I don't know, something like maybe the IC, but like an entirely unrelated match, or maybe like do a big like Liger retirement match or something as the main. But instead it's like double heavyweight title matches. Like it's like they made this, it's like so convoluted right now, everything that's going on. And like one of the reasons I really liked New Japan when I first started watching it was that it wasn't too convoluted. Like, there were titles and you just fought for them, and then like, the wrestlers themselves would like build their stories and like they'd have their characters and stuff like that. But like the plot itself wasn't getting in the way of that. Whereas it feels like the plot is kind of getting in the way of like who everyone is, excepting for like Naito, who started the plot.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like it's weird for Naito to say like, I want both titles. Like, I'm like, I still don't get why, even for that.
I guess his thing was he wants to be the first one to do it, he basically said. But like, it is weird. It's like, why don't you just focus on trying to get the heavyweight back finally?
Yeah, because it's like,
it's a little.
It's like, I guess, never quite explained why Naito suddenly feels different about the IC title. Like, I still don't get why suddenly he's like wants it. Like, he's like, oh, I want it just so I can be double champ. But then it's like, but that still means you want it. And instead of like before where it's like, I hate it, I want to destroy it. Now it's like, oh, well, I would just need it for this other thing instead of like being actively against it.
Yeah.
Like, I like that Naito was like, when he was like destroying the IC belt, I was like, yeah, like kill it. I don't know.
He didn't succeed though.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's character direction this year has just been like, I don't know, like I don't get what Naito's doing. I don't get what Ibushi's doing. Ibushi feels like very different this year in a way that's kind of like, I don't know, makes me a little uncomfortable.
It is a little weird that he suddenly wanted to take Naito's dream from him. It's like, it feels a little, I don't know, aggressive for Kota Ibushi.
Yeah, or like when he was like courting Sanada, like trying to be like, oh, Sanada, be my tag team partner, or whatever it was. Like, it reminded me of like Tanahashi last year when he was trying to get like pretty much everyone, including Ibushi, to like be on his side, where he'd like be like, Ibushi, you could be so much if you like followed me and stopped hanging around with Kenny. And it's like, or like he did the same with like Paige and like Yoshihashi, and it's like it feels like Ibushi's like trying to be the successor that Tanahashi wants him to be by being Tanahashi in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just really weird.
I guess I like the double title thing a little more than you do, but I would like, I'm glad you like expressed this, because there are lots of other people who don't seem to like the double title thing at all. I think it's cool, but I kind of wish that we were coming out of this show with more of a clear vision of like what exactly is going to happen. Maybe they will announce that tomorrow. So I should mention, there's been like vague rumblings. I feel like I can talk about this publicly now since someone said it in the Super J-Cast Discord. Damon mentioned it, and also Sean Ross Sapp kind of reported it on Twitter. But basically, there's been vague rumblings that the post King of Pro Wrestling press conference will be like really big, and no one seems to know what that means. That means like, the exact quote that Damon posted in the Discord was like, it will be, if we announce what it's going to be beforehand, it would be the biggest stream we ever did. So that to me says more. It's going to be more than just announcing what's going to happen to the Dome. That they must have some kind of, I don't know if that means like a Hiromu return. I don't know if that means like some kind of signing. I've even seen like people speculating about like something with AEW. But yeah, I don't know what that means exactly. But I would maybe at the press conference they will announce like the contours of this a little more, and it won't matter. But I really thought at the end of King of Pro Wrestling, we would at least have it set in stone that, okay, there's going to be a heavyweight match on 1-4 and an IC match, and the two winners will fight on 1-5. We haven't even set that in stone yet. I mean, all we have right now is, the Okada-Ibushi for the heavyweight title. That's set in stone, like that's happening. But we don't have anything for the IC at 1-4 yet, which I guess we're not going to know that till after Power Struggle. But like, we don't even really know for sure that the 1-5 match is happening because Okada basically said he doesn't give a shit. So, I mean, he didn't say that, but he implied he didn't give a shit. So it's a very weird. I thought at this point we'd have more of an idea of what's definitely happening, and that's not really the case yet. So I guess we'll see if anything happens at the press conference, if anything else gets announced afterwards. The Yahoo Sports did break a few days before this that like Taichi and Naito are going to fight at Power Struggle. They seem to imply it'll be like some kind of IC. Yeah. And they seem to imply it'll be some kind of IC number one contendership match. So, maybe it'll be a thing where like the winner of that for sure faces the winner of White and Goto. But I would have liked to see them like a little more movement towards like setting in stone what's going to happen to the Dome. It feels weird. It feels like we still have a weird amount of uncertainty after King of Pro Wrestling that you generally don't have for the Wrestle Kingdom, because usually, the tradition is after Wrestle Kingdom, the main event on 1-4. And I guess we technically do, but there's a whole other Dome this year. Yeah. So it's just weird all around.
Yeah. Wait, so I just realized it's totally possible for Taichi 2 belts, and now that is what I'm going for.
Taichi 2 belts could happen. True.
If that doesn't happen,
okay, so
I'm going to be so pissed. I'm going to set fire to Ghetto's house if that doesn't happen.
I don't know if you're doing that on purpose, but there was one Words of Wrestling podcaster who got in a lot of trouble for saying he was going to set Shima's house on fire.
Okay. So, I apologize. I'll take that back. I don't even know where Ghetto's house is. I can't fly to Japan, so it's a threat that I completely can't even act on. So I take that back. I'll just grumble about it on Twitter. Okay, I think I can't get. I don't think I can get you in trouble if I do that.
But yeah, so there will be no one setting anyone's house on fire. Just to
no, definitely not. I don't want to go to jail.
I'm kidding anyway, because it's like the people who like got really outraged at Milo for that were like people deliberately reading, listening in bad faith, basically, or already hated him and wanted a reason to get upset. So.
Oh yeah, I know those kind of people.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anyone like that, and I hope you don't have anyone like that. So.
I probably do, but who knows? The semi-main. We haven't actually talked about the match yet. So Kota, Ibushi, and Evil. What do you think about this match?
I guess this is a problem that I've been having, but I found it really frustrating. I guess this was something that was brought to my attention about the Ibushi and Kenta match by a friend of mine. And she pointed out that Ibushi didn't get a lot of offense in that match, and that it was like kind of focused around him just like taking a lot of damage and then like hitting all his like things and winning. And I thought this match kind of was the same thing, but obviously a lot better because there's no like stupid interference. It was like just a match. So it was like unlike that match, like it was like, you know, there isn't like the same like this again, and so it was like enjoyable to watch. But it also like when my friend pointed that out to me, I kept thinking about that during this match, and it's like, yeah, like Ibushi doesn't really build up a lot of like offense. He kind of like hits a lot of like things to get Evil further from him, but Evil's really the one who's in control, and then, you know, Ibushi manages to pull it out, which is a really bad way to like build up this guy that he can defeat Okada, because it feels like if he's like struggling against like Kenta and Evil, like I don't know, like how is he gonna look against Okada? And it's also just doesn't play to Ibushi's strengths at all, which are like, you know, he has amazing, spectacular, like really innovative offense that like really pops people. And he's not really getting to show that off. I mean, it might be partially the ankle thing, but even with that, like he still has like, you know, all his amazing striking, and, you know, it's just like it was really, you know, kind of frustrating to watch. But I mean, I think Evil was really great in it, at least. Like I think, you know, watching Evil like get better and better and better, and like I love him, and I'm so excited that he's, you know, like getting to show really what he's about as a singles wrestler, like as the years go on, and how he keeps improving. So, you know, I guess that's how I feel about the match.
I was going to mention the thing you said too about the Ibushi's offense being his best part. That's why I think the Naito like trilogy was like probably the best thing he's done this year, because those matches were such like much more back and forth.
Yeah.
And they both got to just do all the crazy shit. And that's, you can always tell that's like Kota's favorite kind of match, where it's just like go out there and do like a ton of crazy shit for like, you know, 20 to 30 minutes. So
yeah, like
that's why those were like probably his best match.
Like you really like, it's really obvious to tell like when he's really, really into something, because when he's like it was obvious with this match he wasn't as into it as like, because he didn't have that like kind of, he has this like, I guess really, how do I put it, like mischievous kind of look on his face a lot of times, like during those Naito matches, where like he's like, oh, I'm gonna do something completely dangerous and I'm so excited about it. But, you know, you can kind of see like at the same time, like when he's just, you know, like he's like, whatever, you know, it's really obvious on his face because he's very expressive, I guess.
Yeah. So I think maybe I like this a little more than you. Even though it did get a little slow and boring in the middle during like Evil's heat section, I thought, you know, the early portion was good. There was like a spot where like Ibushi countered a Bronco Buster into a double stomp in the corner. That was like such a cool counter. And then after the heat section, it got really good again. Where like Evil just like no selling Ibushi's lariat was really badass, and that was like a part of a really great sequence. And then there was like another really cool lariat where like Ibushi went for the Bama-Ye, but like Evil just like destroyed him with a lariat.
That was...
And then but yeah, then Ibushi, like, I really like when he does like that cross-arm German and then tries to go from the Kamigoe into that. But like this time Evil countered that in like these two half Nelson Germans. And then Ibushi finally countered the lariat, attempting his own lariat. And then I thought the reversal sequence at the end went basically like just the right amount of time. It didn't drag like some of these reversal sequences do. But then Evil kicked out the Kamigoe, and you know the crowd was going nuts at that point. But then a second Kamigoe got the win. So I liked it enough to go 4 stars flat. It was definitely I would say it was a really good match. It was just maybe missing a little something in the middle to be like to get above 4. And you know, obviously, I think this and the main, like the outcome being kind of a foregone conclusion, was a little bit of a issue. But that's always an issue at this show, basically. So can't really do anything about that. I mean, I think they did a better job like the crowd reacted more to this and to the main than they did to like, remember 2 years ago when it was Okada and Evil for the title and the crowd just didn't react at all for that match.
Yeah.
So there was definitely more of a crowd reaction here. So that probably says something about the work in there. So yeah, 4 stars, good, really good match. And, I definitely think their G1 match was better though. I have to say that.
Yeah, I would say that too. I like that one better.
The U.S. title match, third from the top, Juice Robinson, Lance Archer. First of all, what the fuck was Juice Robinson wearing?
Oh, I loved it. I loved Juice's fashion. Okay. I love everything he wears.
It looked like some kind of like fuzzy Russian hat or something. It was like so weird.
It was. I thought it was really funny. It was like the part. It was like on the back, like it started out really furry, but then the part over like his butt cheeks, like the bottom of his butt cheeks, was like just the regular fabric. So it kind of like looked like a weird heart shape around his butt, and that was my favorite thing. I was like, whoever designs his gear is honestly a genius. It's like every time he comes out with new gear, I'm like, holy fuck. This is like, I just never thought that anyone would ever wear anything like this. I never even thought like of gear that could look like this, and I'm honestly blown away. So he just, I'm glad someone is, it's all like New Japan, like a lot of people kind of just wear like, not just New Japan. I'd say in wrestling in general, a lot of people play it safe with gear, but he's always wearing something weird, and I really respect that.
That's very fair. But then, so Lance Archer says the people paid to see a no DQ match, so it's still going to be one. And Juice is going to die in his murder mansion. So, okay, a little bit about this match. I guess I'll just say it flat out. I thought this was really disappointing. I've liked both guys a lot this year. I thought they both had really good G1s and stuff. But like this match, just like it was weird and slow, and Lance Archer took 10 years to set up like a million weapons, and I don't know. I mean, like maybe a walk-in brawl and like let me set up a million fucking chairs and tables and shit and put you through all of them very slowly. Like that like I expect to see on like a US indie or something. I don't really expect to see that on a New Japan show. And, the crowd didn't really seem to know what to make of it either most of the way. So I don't think it didn't really work for the live crowd either. He just took so long to like take off all 4 turnbuckle pads and then set up a chair here, another chair here, a table here, a table there. It's like I felt like I was fucking watching Hell in a Cell again. Like the fucking Fiend or something. And it wasn't that bad, but I'm like, it just like what is it with all these weapons? So but yeah, there was like very little heat for it. About the only thing I really liked, first of all, there was like at one point he pounces Juice through the table, which honestly, like that sounds a lot cooler, pouncing a guy through a table, than I think it looked. It didn't look that cool. But then Juice gets right up. Like he takes that pounce through the table, and then 2 seconds later, like they're both going hunting for more weapons under the ring. I'm like, okay, so you just got pounced through the table, which you should be selling like you just got killed, and then it's like, here I go, more weapons now. I'm like, all right, that was really stupid. But yeah, so about the only thing I liked about this match was the finish, where he does the blackout on the chairs for 2, which looked cool. And when he kicks out, he just goes nuts, like ramming his head in the chairs over and over again, and he puts the claw on and gets the pin. So the ending was cool enough that I tacked on like an extra quarter star, but I still thought it was like pretty disappointing and disjointed. So I only went 3 stars flat on it. Just not very good. I mean, a good 3 stars is still like a good match and stuff, but like not like, for a big third from the top on King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I think I felt pretty much like the same. Like, I mean, like I enjoyed it for like, I guess what it was, but it was also like, it wasn't really something that was really my kind of match. Like whenever I see weapons get pulled out in New Japan matches, I just start groaning, and I get flashbacks to Bullet Club and how much I hated that. So it's even with someone I really like Archer, it's kind of like, I mean, like you're a humongous dude. You can just maul him. You don't like really have to, make all these contraptions. Like you can just pull out a chair and just start hitting him. Like you don't really need to do this. Like it's always, I don't know. Like it's sometimes like with those kind of things, it feels like they're trying to build the most ridiculous thing they could build instead of like building something that will help them win the match. And it's like that's fine in like, something like PWG, like where it is a little like goofy, but like doesn't really fit into New Japan, I guess.
I totally agree. And then after the match, of course, we got the big return everybody's been waiting for from the guy who's been on the shelf with an injury. David Finlay returns and help to save Juice and take Archer out with a stunner and then a rope assisted stunner. I joke because of the Hiromu thing, but David Finlay's return was pretty cool. The crowd actually popped for it, and Finlay looks like he's in great shape, and I'm excited to have Mr. Finlay back.
I'm excited. I'm a fan of his, and I'm hoping that he and Juice, this means, of course, that they're going to do Tag League, because I really enjoy them as a tag team, and I'm excited. I like him. It's not as exciting as Hiromu, but literally nothing could be that exciting. So, I
it's true. And I assume this means they're going to do Archer versus Juice maybe in San Jose or LA. So that'd be cool.
Wait, Archer versus Juice?
Oh, sorry, Archer versus Finlay.
Yeah, I'm like, are they doing it again? Yeah, Archer versus Finlay should be good. So.
Yeah. Match number 6, it was Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi against Jay White, Kenta, and Yujiro. Don't really have a ton to say about this. It was just kind of a 6-man. It was fun. I went like 3 1/4 on it. I enjoyed it, but it was just kind of a big brawl on the floor. The funniest part was the start where first Jay White begs off from fighting Goto and tags in Kenta, and then Kenta begs off from fighting Ishii and tags in Yujiro. So we basically got the New Japan True-Born Fail Son battle of Yoshi and Yujiro, the 2 fail sons of New Japan. I actually kind of like them both as as what they are, but it's definitely the 2 most recent disappointments from the dojo, I think. And it's let's fight to see who's the biggest loser. But then there was a big brawl on the floor, and then there was I like the Ishii, Kenta, and Goto White exchanges, which bodes well for the future singles matches. And then Goto put Yujiro away at the GTR, and then Kenta and Ishii kept brawling afterwards. And Jay White continued to be a little baby and keep saying no over and over again to Goto. But something tells me that match is going to happen anyway. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I can't get into the whole Jay White thing. I feel like everyone else, who gets it, I really want to, I guess, know what they're seeing, because I feel like, oh yeah, his character's really good and his promo's really good, and then the match happens and I'm I'm ready to go to sleep, but I mean with this one, because it's not it's a tag match and he's not in there the entire time, I can actually enjoy his character a little bit more than I would in a straight up very long singles match. So, but yeah, I mean it's thing that happened was fun to watch, when it happened, and isn't really gonna stick in my memory for very long. So, which is what it's supposed to be, so I guess that's fine.
Match 5, the junior heavyweight title, ELP and Ospreay. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this one, because my takes are going to get me in enough trouble anyway. So you might as well start. What'd you think of Ospreay and Phantasmo?
I don't think my takes are going to be much better than yours. I normally would not watch a match with either of them in it, and I literally only did because I was I'm going to be on the show, so I should be able to talk about the entire show. And it was basically what I expected, which is nothing that was good. There's just I didn't like it at all, and it was.
I did.
Yeah. It's just bad.
Here's what I'm going to say about it. I guess I'm even going to be a little nicer than you then, which I didn't expect. But I gave it like 3.25, which means there was some work I enjoyed. I wouldn't go so far as to say it was bad, but I've seen people be like 4.5 stars on it, which is not remotely what I'm gonna give this match. My first problem, okay, this is what I think honestly the biggest issue with the match was. So before this match, they do this big thing where El Phantasmo was like, I'm reformed now. I've changed my ways because of a typhoon, which, by the way, I don't know if I would use a fucking typhoon to kill, like we said, 37 people, whatever. I don't know if I'd use that as part of my wrestling storyline. It seems kind of like stupid at best and poor taste at worst.
But so, that's kind of El Phantasmo in general, is poor taste.
That's true. But he's like, oh, I cleaned up the dojo, and I realized that my fighting style is nothing like theirs. It's like he's doing this big thing where it's like, oh, he's going to try to fight clean. Which I'm like, okay, obviously he's a heel, and he doesn't really mean it. But you'd think that's going to be a major thing that's going to build into the match. But they fucking blew that off 5 minutes into the match.
I know. It's like they blew it off with like an eye poke. I'm like, yes! That I didn't even notice at first. I'm like, oh, he did an eye poke? I didn't until like Kevin Kelly or whoever said that he did one, I was like, oh, he did one? To me he was still just pretending to be good. Then he really went in with it. It's so stupid.
You know who else didn't notice the accidental eye poke or elbow the eye, whatever the fuck? The fucking fans in the crowd, because they didn't react to any of this at all. They had no idea what was going on. And somebody, I think it was Emily Pratt on Twitter, pointed this out. Because ELP put the entire thing in his notes app, if you're a Japanese fan, you could not even put that through Google Translate easily. Yeah. So there's probably most of the people in the crowd had no idea what the ELP even was supposed to be a non-cheater or why. They just so the entire early part of the match, it felt like it meant nothing to the live crowd, and they didn't react. I mean, this match struggled to get a reaction at all in a way that I'm never gonna I don't Will Ospreay. I like Will Ospreay. I don't think he's bad or anything. I don't think he's the greatest wrestler of all time either, the way some people do. I'm never gonna be the one. Okay, so that's fine. He's not my favorite either. So first of all, but Will Ospreay, I'm never gonna come on here and argue he's not over. He clearly is over with with a lot of Japanese fans. I mean, I saw that firsthand when he beat Shingo to win Best of Super Junior. A lot of fans in the crowd love Will Ospreay. Fine. This match was not over. This match, the crowd was not that into this match for long stretches, and I think a part of that is again doing too much in English, which for a Japanese audience, the Elite used to have this issue a lot, where all these angles, all these angles on their show are in fucking English, so it's the Japanese fans can't follow this easily, so of course they're not going to react, to these fucking matches and this Bullet Club Civil War storyline when they don't know what the fuck is going on. And here it's this is obviously a much less extreme version, but they had no idea what the fuck was going on here because they don't, if you don't read English, that ELP notes thing is just a big wall of text you don't understand. So it's a very, very, and plus it's an angle on Twitter too, which is always kind of
scary. I mean, but, I think what he should do, what all these guys should do, is they should be more like Mike Bailey and put everything in Google Translate and then have that voice read it back in garbled Japanese.
Yes. Remember the look on his face too when the voice is playing. Oh, I love that segment.
Oh god, I love
that. But yeah, so then I will say Ospreay tossing ELP right into Gino was really funny. Just out of nowhere, just talk to Ben. That was probably the best part of the match. And then Gino acted like a human shield.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's being Mr. Human Shield to give him time to recover.
Yeah, I feel like other people did things in this match that were interesting, but not the two actual competitors. I thought the bit with Ishimori and Eagles I liked. Like that was the only thing I really liked. I was like, oh, I want to watch a match between those two. I don't want to watch these other guys. You know.
I will say it was kind of nuts. I was just gonna say it was kind of nuts when they were up on the balcony. At least that was like something, I guess.
I guess.
You don't even seem that impressed with that.
Yeah, no, I'm like, at that point it's like, because it felt like they were trying really, really hard to get people to care by doing dangerous things, but like, like you shouldn't, if you have to rely on like spots like that to get people to care, then the match is already like lost on the crowd. Like you should do that as a way to highlight a match that people already like, or that at least has some importance. Whereas this is just kind of like a filler defense on like King of Pro Wrestling. Like no one cares. Like no one cares about ELP. So, they're all like sitting there like maybe Hiromu will come out afterwards. No one's thinking about ELP.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I was thinking too. So,
yeah.
Definitely the entire time, like maybe Hiromu will come out, but
yeah.
But yeah, let me see what else here. Anything else in the match? The barricades. The part on the balcony was cool. He did the dive off the balcony, which was cool. So like some cool spots are why I went like 3.25. But like the end again felt like massive like overload and just overdoing it. Where like we do like I had to mention a spot I thought was really stupid looking. The fucking Oz cutter they did, where basically Ospreay's on the guardrail, and ELP is on the apron, and Ospreay leaps into the air and hits the Oz cutter on ELP like onto the floor. That sounds cool when I describe it, but it looks fucking stupid, especially in slow motion because ELP has to like jump into his arms.
I know.
He has to make a conscious decision to jump off the apron to get hit with this move. Like, why do you just not jump? It just looks fucking stupid.
It does look too stupid. It's like I always feel like with Ospreay matches, it's really good when someone like doesn't sell Ospreay's like bullshit, but that doesn't happen enough. Like people are always just like, yeah, I'll do it. Meanwhile, Ospreay like doesn't sell other people's bullshit. So, like, why people keep being like, yeah, we'll do this ridiculous move with you. Meanwhile, you'll just pop out of, like, the Paradise Lock like it's nothing, It's like he's ridiculous. He's just, like, he just has no, like, I don't know. Like, I saw this tweet that just talks about how, like, kind of, like, how it's hard to, like, buy into a character when they're just doing all of this like video game shit, because like you can't like sympathize with a character who's just who you can't like buy into their pain. Like there's no connection between like the moves they're doing and like their like actual body, like their actual like it's they just feel like a video game character. It's like you can't really care about someone who does that. It's like
and it's like, what is his character? Like, he feels like the worst of the Kenny, like, best bout machine era, where it's like, it doesn't even feel like he has a character per se. It's just more like, I'm this, like, vessel for having the best possible matches all the time. That's all I care about. And it's like what does Will Ospreay care about him? Like, I wish at some point Will Ospreay would tell us, like, why he started carrying around a samurai sword. Because, like, if you really want to lead into like if this character is going to be him leading into like being a weeb or something, the way Kenny's was sometimes, that would at least be something.
I don't think Ospreay has the capacity to be as like self-deprecating as like Kenny does. Like Kenny is obnoxious, but he's like willing to make a fool of himself for entertainment purposes. Whereas like Ospreay clearly just like he's just like he thinks he's very cool, and he thinks that he just buys into his own hype in a way that's like not even like interesting, like over the top, like self-absorbed, like diva type. He's just like deeply uncool.
Yeah.
He's just like he's like a slightly less irritating Seth Rollins.
That's a good way to put it, I guess. But yeah, so then we got like a bunch of like belt stuff. ELP hits like a big splash after like a million run-ins and stuff like that. You know, I don't know. Like at that point, like Phantasmo, I guess, like he hits like a Styles Clash, which only gets 2, and this is like where it really starts to feel overdone to me. And then like, you know, he hits like a V trigger and then and goes for the one winged angel, because I guess the idea is he is like trying to use all the Bullet Club leader stuff. But again, it just feels like really overdone, like really like I don't know, like at this point it feels like the match should be over already.
Also, he didn't do it Bloody Sunday. He didn't do it Bloody Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's like he weirdly like this is like Prince Devitt erasure or something.
Yeah, and it's like Prince Devitt is like the only one who was like leader while a junior. So wouldn't it make more sense if he's a junior? But I don't know. It's like that callback doesn't mean anything. Like, what's the point of it? Like, you know, like callbacks are cool when they seem to have like a purpose, but this is just like doing it for like, I guess, some sort of like nostalgia, an attempt at like some sort of like nostalgia pop or something that just didn't work because, you know, people were checked out by that.
Well, like Kenny doing the Styles Clash always made sense to me because it's like he literally took AJ Styles out of the Bullet Club and out of New Japan. So when Kenny would do the Styles Clash, it's almost like, well, I'm using this move for this guy that I vanquished. ELP has no connection to Kenny or to AJ. Yeah. So like there's no storyline reason to use those moves. But yeah, Ospreay at this point he hits like a flipping DDT thing, which gets another 2 count. And I was really like begging for this to end. And you know, he turns the top rope Rana into a power bomb, and he hits the Hidden Blade and finally hits the Stormbreaker for the pin. And it definitely had that like, thank God this is over kind of feeling to me. Which even though this was shorter than the main event, I think it went. Let me see what the time was. I still think it went way too long for the spot in the card, but yeah, it went 27:58, so it didn't even go 30, but it felt like it was an hour. So yeah, you know, definitely dragged. I was at 3 1/4 is what I gave it for some cool spots, but definitely, I you know, I'm not gonna be on the same page as the people going 4+. So
yeah, I like honestly, I do not get the Will Ospreay hype at all. I don't understand, like I said that with like Jay White, but at least with Jay White, it's like, okay, he has like a really good character. He's really good at promos. Like I can kind of see like, I guess, a little bit of it. But with like Ospreay, he doesn't have anything like that interests me at all. Like he's just his moves are just convoluted. His selling is like obnoxiously irritating. His promos are bad. His character is stupid. I'm like, I hate this guy. I hate it. I just well, not like as a person, but like as a wrestler. Like I don't want to watch him. I just, you know, I don't want to watch him.
Well,
he's so annoying.
I'm not going to be accused of being the most negative Ospreay person on this episode. I guess that's good. But people like really have it as a meme that I hate Will Ospreay. I don't hate Will Ospreay, but
I hate Will Ospreay.
There you go. I am ambivalent on Will Ospreay, I guess, to the point where there's definitely matches I really enjoy of his, and there's other matches where a lot of other people really like it, and I don't really get it. Like this one was a good one, obviously, and the Tanahashi one from the end of the G1 where it's like Ospreay just could not sell the leg at all, and I'm like, that's the entire point of the match. So why are people praising this match? I don't understand. But anyway, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Match number 4, Minoru Suzuki against Jushin Thunder Liger. Suzuki wins in 17:38 with the GOT style pile driver. So this is a weird one because I think I think the criticism I've seen the most levied at this match is it. You know, they built up the death feud and they started on the mat. I don't know if that's entirely fair because a lot of the point of this match was like, you know, Suzuki, like what started this whole feud in the first place was they had a fight in Pancrase, obviously, and they were supposed to have another fight when Liger said, "Give me a couple years," and it never happened. So I almost thought them starting on the mat was like their weird way of saying like, yeah, we want to kill each other as we built up throughout this feud. But like, this is why we want to kill each other in the first place, because we were supposed to have this fight and it never happened. It's like two people who wanting to, like, I don't know. It still felt intense to me. It felt like they were trying to see who could one up the other one on the mat. It didn't feel like, they said they were going to kill each other and they did a headlock or something. Like they still, it was this like, weird like one up.
Teasing each other, kind of. Like they're like, yeah, you think you can beat me? So, like it still felt like, yeah, there's still like a lot of emotion to it, like early on. And I like that it kind of started out like that because I thought it was more interesting to do that than like, and more in character, I guess, for someone like Suzuki, who really is all about like, killing people with submissions. So it makes sense that he'd want to like choke the life out of Liger, and that Liger would, kind of want to do the same back, and that they'd, tussle eventually until like they kind of get to the point where they're like, I just want to kill you. I thought I liked it.
I mean, it's not like they didn't do the brawl stuff. Yeah.
What?
I liked it too. I was gonna say it's not like they didn't do the brawl stuff eventually, but like you said, they built up to it in the course of the match. Like I don't think they had to start immediately like swinging chairs. I think it was okay to, because Liger in the build up, even though they said they're going to kill each other, like one of Liger's critiques was like, why do you just want a street fight? Why, you can see that in Shinjuku. Like this is supposed to be, pro wrestling. And Suzuki, it almost felt like, he had this weird thing where he wanted to see Yamada, right? He didn't want to see Liger. And when Liger came out with the Battle Liger mask where you could see more of his face, I think it almost was like, well, this is pretty much what I wanted. So Suzuki got what he wanted, and he gave Liger what Liger wanted, and they had an actual wrestling match for a while. So I thought that was fine. But then Suzuki beat the shit out of him with a chair, so they did eventually get to that, and he started tearing at the mask, a lot. Liger got his brainbuster for like a really close near fall. The crowd actually bought that as a pin, which would have been something if Liger pinned Suzuki. There was this awesome strike exchange where Suzuki just kept telling Liger to bring it more and more and more.
Oh, I was getting so excited. I like watching it. I'm like, yeah. I wanted like, I wanted to see like Liger really like just stun the fuck out of Suzuki. Like, my seat.
And then, Suzuki, and I like the end that Suzuki just hit the God-style power driver and pinned him, because it's like, look, Liger's retiring. He's a junior against heavyweight. He's not supposed to win this. I like that they didn't like try to do a bunch of bullshit. It was just, sometimes no matter how much you want the old guy to win, the old guy just can't win. So that's what happens. And then, Suzuki at the end, we got like the match itself, I should say, I gave 4 stars. I thought it was really good. They're both up there in age, so like there were still parts where it was a little bit slower, but I still thought it was an excellent match. The post match where Suzuki takes a chair and takes out a young lion, but then teases hitting Liger with it and instead throws it down and like gets down on his knees and bows to him. That was such an awesome moment.
I love that.
Like Liger said thank you, and you could tell people in the crowd were like clearly crying.
Yeah.
So that was just a really cool moment.
Yeah, I was definitely like, when that happened, like I was kind of like a little like I was like in a way like kind of like shocked, and it took me like a moment to really like fully appreciate what happened, because I wasn't expecting that at all, and it was like such a great moment that I was like, oh my god, because I was like still because it's one of those things that's like where wrestling sometimes can be a bit like what's going to happen, and that can kind of be what's fun about it, is that like you're like really excited, you're like waiting for like the build, you're like watching the build up to something that is going to be amazing. But then like when wrestling like truly surprises you in like a good way, it's like, holy crap. It's like, and that was just like I love that it was like violent, like too, because he still like beat up the young lions, like who wasn't like going against who he was. It was still very, very Suzuki way to go about showing respect to Liger. So
yeah,
I loved it.
And I did really love it too. It was a great moment, and he, he's like you say, he still beat up the young lion even when he's showing the respect. So it made a lot of sense. The first few matches I don't have to talk a ton about because they were tags. The big thing was, first of all, the third match, Naito Shingo against Taichi and Doki. I don't know why, but Kevin Kelly, when Doki came out, and the way he just called him this lunatic Doki, and then said, like, "You're out of your mind, sir." Like, I laughed so hard at that. I don't know why, but he's very like outraged at Doki and his lead pipe. It was like very funny. Taichi, and then the other thing I know too is like Taichi like held the ropes open for Naito again, and they have like, and then he like kept checking Naito's waist for the IC belt, like pointing at it and like pointing at the lack of it and like patting him down. They have like really big like married couple who love to fight energy. Like,
yeah,
Taichi, like it's like foreplay for them or something.
I know, I love it.
It is,
like, I their dynamic is so good. Like all of their matches are just full of like, just keep building and building on that and like get more and more amazing each time to me. I guess like I love
it. Almost feels like they have to. I almost feel like they have to team someday. I don't know why. It really feels like they have to be a tag team someday. Like Taichi has to join LIJ.
Yeah. Or like begrudgingly they have to like team for some reason. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah. But they had great chemistry here, I thought, in this match, and then it didn't go that long. No, it ended 9 minutes. Taichi like nailed Shingo with the mic stand for the blatant DQ. Then he nailed the ref, and then Naito came in, and Naito thought him nailing the ref was like the funniest fucking thing he ever saw. Like he was like laughing about it, which I thought was really funny. But then he does convince Taichi to put the mic stand down, but then Taichi like lays out Naito and Shingo without the mic stand. Like he gives Naito a huge backdrop. He gives Shingo a huge super kick. And I really like when they like let Taichi, just like bust loose on without needing to cheat or anything. Like he did against Ishii at the end of the G1 too.
Yeah.
But then he hits Naito with the mic stand. He gives him the huge last ride, and then he has Doki count a pin for him, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And he tells Naito he's weak, and then he says, he just couldn't get it done, but he will, and he can just shut up and leave it to him. So now Taichi is going to be Taichi 2 belts, apparently.
Yes.
So that was the post-match, the big post-match angle.
Yeah.
Match 2, which was Tanahashi and Honma beating Makabe and Yano, when Tanahashi pinned Yano in 9:43 at the High Fly Flow. The only big thing here to note, it was a very like average match, was like, there was no angle with Jericho or anything because, that's apparently, according to Sports Illustrated, that's the match for Wrestle Kingdom, Tanahashi and Jericho. And there was no, I figured Jericho wasn't going to be there, but I thought maybe there'd be like a video message, but there was nothing. So the big thing was Wataru Inoue being there. So, that was cool though.
That was cool. Yeah. I mean, it was a match that happened. I'm not really a huge fan of either member of GBH, so it's kind of just for me like, oh, cool, I like Tanahashi, I like Yano. They're not really doing much, but it's nice to see them, Yeah. Basically.
And then the first match, the El Desperado comeback, it was changed to a regular tag match. Desperado and Kanemaru beat Roppongi 3K when Desperado pinned Show with the Pinche Loco in 10:44. First of all, Desperado was wearing the shirt he was wearing when his jaw was broken, like covered in his own blood. Like, this man is so fucking extra.
Yeah, I love it.
Why is he wearing his bloody shirt when his jaw broken? It's just so funny.
I love it. I have friends who are like super, super, super into Despy, and like I always see, I'm like, they're reading too much into it sometimes, and then I actually see Despy, and I'm like, no, they're not really. He really is kind of like, a bit ridiculous, with, all of this stuff. So it was nice to see him back. I love him and Kanemaru as a team. So
yeah, me too. They have like really, really, really cool energy.
Yeah,
it's like the drunk uncle and his weird fake Mexican friend.
Yeah.
At one point, he like faked another jaw injury to lure in Roppongi 3K, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever believe this man when he like pretends to have a hurt jaw. It's like when Ibushi believed him that he was a babyface when he first showed up. His name is like the Desperado. Like he has a very evil looking mask. I don't think you should challenge or trust him, Kota. But Kota did trust him.
Yeah,
that's Kota.
No one's praising Kota for his mind. So
It's true. But yeah, he pinned Show here with after the whiskey spat from Kanemaru, and then did like a big right hand and then hit the Pinche Loco. It's a very solid opener, and that's King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good show. Maybe a little disappointing, but like not not like terribly disappointing or anything, but definitely a million times better than last year.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and obviously, a lot better than last year. I mean, like literally, the main event could have just been Okada fighting I don't know, in Sanada stuffed bear, and it would have been a better show. So.
But yeah, so that was King of Pro Wrestling. Now, the next thing for New Japan is the Super Junior Tag League, which we don't have to go into that here because we've already run a while here. But I do want to mention it because I have a preview up on voicesofwrestling.com. The Super Junior Tag League preview I wrote just went up, so you can go check that out. The NJPW Super Junior Tag League 2019 preview and predictions. I go into all 8 teams and their record in the previous single elimination tournament and the league. The interesting thing about it is there's only 2 teams from last year that are back.
Yeah.
Just for Pungi 3K and Desperado and Kanemaru. Everybody else is a brand new team, including the current junior champions of Phantasmo and Ishimori. But I think Roppongi 3K is going to win. I don't know if you feel any differently, but it just feels like it's set up.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to win. I mean, maybe there's a small chance for the what are they called? The Osprey and Eagles one, yeah. Maybe even a little bit more distant, Kanemaru and Desperado, but yeah, I think I can't see it not being Roppongi 3K. Definitely feels like the junior tag division is, I don't know, I feel like it's being phased out in a way now that Roppongi 3K are fighting GOD and stuff. It's I'm wondering if they're just gonna unify the tag divisions, or I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah. I think the tag divisions are probably safe for now, but I guess we'll say. I figured that was probably a one-time thing, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's the beginning of the end or something.
Yeah,
I hope they keep it separate.
Really, because I feel like it should be. I like it better, the idea of it just being unified.
The problem I found with that is I worry the junior size teams will get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. I didn't think about it like that. I just felt because both tag divisions, I feel are kind of always dominated by one or two teams. It would kind of I guess, provide more interesting matches. But yeah, definitely the juniors will, suffer.
Yeah. But so that's the next thing. That starts only in 2 days from now, on Wednesday. So not a lot of time before the Junior Tag League starts. And the first matches are all at Cork. The first 2 shows are at Cork and Hall. They're all running live. So Wednesday has Roppongi 3K against Despy and Kanemaru, Birds of Prey against Phantasmo and Ishimori, Taguchi and Romero against TJP and Clark Connors, and Volador and Teton against Tiger Mask and Yuya Uemura. The second day at Korakuen has Roppongi 3K against Birds of Prey, Phantasmo and Ishimori against Desperado and Kanemaru. That actually might be my most anticipated match of the 2 days, because I kind of think the heel sleaze teams up against each other could be really fun.
Yeah.
Volador and Teton against TJP and Connors, and Taguchi and Romero against Tiger Mask and Uemura. So some good stuff there. We'll see. There's a lot of VOD shows after that with only one match, and then we go back to Korakuen on the 27th and 28th, and then of course it wraps up back with the top 2 teams meeting each other at Power Struggle on November 3rd. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
we're already gone like 2 hours, so we can wrap it up. I guess I did say we talk about AEW a little bit. If you want to like give very brief thoughts, I guess on the first 2 weeks of TV. I don't know. What do you think? I think you're someone who watched both of them.
Yeah, I watched both episodes of AEW so far. I guess I kind of got what I expected, which was, I really love the women, and the men's single division, not quite as excited by. I think the big thing for me that I guess I was really into was that people were really supportive of like new talent, like with like Riho and Nyla, and then with Private Party. I think that was really awesome to see that people actually are excited about seeing something new, and it's not just like a bunch of like elite fanboys who like only want to talk about the elite, because that's what elite fanboys seem to be to me when they were like in New Japan. Like they never wanted to talk about like the rest of New Japan, but I don't know, maybe that's like a real minority, and there's enough people who just want an alternate American wrestling program that actually are excited for new talent. So yeah.
The my thing with the first 2 weeks, I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I think the highlights so far are clearly the women's division and the tag division. I think those are like the two standout things, where both of the two best matches each week. Week 1, the best match was clearly Nyla and Riho, and then week 2, the best match was Young Bucks and Private Party.
Yeah.
Both were like 3 3/4 level. The men's singles division, like that's the biggest issue I have with AEW, where like I just don't like enough of those wrestlers to really like carry an entire division. And, like there's some stuff that was pretty good on both weeks, but like there was also like week 1 Hangman Page and Pac was just like like a 3 1/4 star match. Cody and Sammy was like surprisingly good, but that's still like 3 1/2 star level. And then like week 2, where the men's singles division I think really dried things down is like Darby and Jimmy Havoc. I actually really like Darby, but Jimmy Havoc's a bad pro wrestler. And
I feel like the exact same way. Like I really, I'd never seen Darby Allin previous to him being in AEW, and I'm already really liking him. But Jimmy Havoc just gives me secondhand embarrassment, and I don't like watching him.
Yeah, so like maybe him and Jericho will be good next week, but I did not like that match. And then Moxley and Shawn Spears, it's like they have to get over Shawn Spears. They have to stop with this fucking 10 guy push. And I've heard people say, "Oh, he's just a mid carder. It's fine." It's like he shouldn't even be going 50-50 with Jon Moxley.
I know.
He looks stupid. He's a bad wrestler.
Like there's people on the roster who like men's wrestlers who haven't even been on the show yet I keep having to watch fucking Shawn Spears, and I'm like, I don't care about this guy. I love Moxley and everything, but that match was just so boring. When like Kenny came out, I was like, oh good, something exciting is gonna happen with Moxley. I'm like, I don't have to. Now he's coming out with like Tully Blanchard and everything. It's like they're really trying so hard to make him seem like a big deal, and it's like he isn't. No one cares.
He's fucking 10 guy. No one cares. I mean, I liked both shows overall, and I'm gonna keep watching. I think I was a little bit surprised by the level of praise for week 2, because that show started really well, because like the Private Party Young Bucks match was really good, and I thought the Jericho promo was really good. But then it fell off a cliff for a long time after that, because again it was like Darby Allin against what the fuck's his name, Jimmy Havoc, and then the Joshi match which was not as good as the week before the tag match, mostly because Britt Baker is very bad.
Oh my god, I was so pissed off that they didn't give Emi Sakura like a real intro. Instead I had to watch like this stupid like B Priestley intro, and I'm like, I hate her. Like I don't want to watch her. I'm like, why can't you? It's like Emi Sakura is like a legendary wrestler, and then B Priestley's like no one gives a fuck. I mean, I guess some people do for some reason. I don't
But
know.
yeah, then Moxie Spears. So that's like those 3 matches back to back to back. That wasn't good, and that was like the very boring middle portion. The main event, the tag match was pretty good, but again, like like 3.25 level. So overall, like if I was going to score these 2 shows, like week 1, I would give like a 9. Like I thought week 1 was a pretty gigantic success, and the only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10 is because that the thing in the main event where like Moxley ran out and attacked Kenny, like right in front of the ref, that was really stupid. But and it wasn't a disqualification. I mean,
Yeah.
So like that's about the only thing keeping it from a 10. Week 2, I'd only give like a 6 out of 10. It was still it's still called a good show, but like I don't want to go through periods like that whole middle portion again where it's like 3 matches in a row that are all pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
I think I think I pretty much would give it the same.
Yeah. So, and, that's also why if they could make a deal, because Tony Khan apparently was complaining about this recently. Like we send a lot of our wrestlers to New Japan. It'd be nice if they could send some back. First of all, buddy, you gave them contracts that say they can go work New Japan, so it's not you sending anybody. But anyway, if they could get like random New Japan people on their show, that would go a long way, because I think the big problem they have right now is a lack of like wrestling talent, especially in like the male singles division. So if they could like, if you replace Sean Spears with like, Kota Ibushi or something on like a random episode, obviously the talent level will go way higher.
Yeah, but if you put Kota Ibushi on a random episode, I think Kenny would have like a heart attack and not be able to be on the show. So I don't know how that would go. But like they have
anybody.
I mean, they have a deal with DDT, so don't they? Like there's something going with DDT. So, I don't know why they can't, just be like, here, why have Sean Spears when you could have like Tetsuya Endo or something?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's the big, whatever they do, they need to do something to like bring up the talent level of those, like the male singles roster. I think that's the big flaw right now. Because I think, the production stuff is really cool. And just having an American television show that's like, or American wrestling television show that's like shot by normal people again is really nice. Like it's not like bang, 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 camera changes. And like announcers screaming at you and like all that shit. So that like their biggest weakness, or their biggest like not weakness, their biggest strength is how bad WWE is. Like they're starting with like such a huge advantage because the bar on American television wrestling is like underground at this point.
Yeah.
So that's a big advantage. So when you compare it to WWE, I totally get why people are just acting like it's the best show that's ever aired. So I totally understand that, and I'm not trying to take it down for anybody if they think it's like the greatest thing they've ever seen. Even with my complaints with like some of the roster and like and that kind of thing, I'm still gonna keep watching. I'm still excited to watch it each week so far.
Oh yeah,
so
same.
They're clearly doing something right. But if I had any complaints, I would like to see like just better, like a better roster, I guess is the best complaint I have.
Yeah, I have to see more with like the women. Like one of my big issues with WWE is it feels like with the women, like outside of like the title scene, like nothing happens, or it's like just really catty storylines. So I guess I'd like to see maybe a more even balance between like men and women. That would really feel like a big difference and a big improvement from WWE. But I mean, yeah, like otherwise, yeah, I just like to see maybe more of a bigger roster, better roster, I already have a lot of great people, but yeah. I mean, it's pretty good so far, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a 9 and a 6, that's those are two good numbers. I mean, it's not like that's bad numbers, But yeah, I mean, like I hope they just don't have a stretch of matches like they had this past week again. That's my big ask of them is please do not put Jimmy Havoc and Sean Spears in singles matches anymore.
Oh god.
Anything else to say, I guess, about the first 2 weeks of AEW?
Oh, what's with like the whole Jack Swagger thing? Why? I don't get that. I don't get. I'm like, nobody wants to watch him, but he's here.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they shut down that fucking We the People shit.
Yeah. But it's still like, you know, it is kind of annoying to see like have like Cody say like, oh, we're not gonna just be like any ex-WWE guy who's frustrated can come here, and then like the big shocking debut at the end of episode 1 is like an ex-WWE guy that wasn't even like someone who was like super over or whatever, like the way like Moxley was. You know, it's just like a random mid-carder guy. Woo.
Yeah. You know, getting breaking news, by the way, as we're on the air. Mike Bennett requested his release from WWE.
Good for him. Honestly,
it's a very. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, honestly, if they put like, if I was given the cucking storyline, I would immediately request to leave. Be like, no amount of money can let me to do this.
Can you believe they have 2 cucking storylines at once?
Oh my god, I explained this to my younger brother, who like he's like this hipster type who like not into wrestling, and when I said there's 2 cucking storylines, the look on his face was like, it was like he's never seen anything more horrifying in his life.
Can you imagine just like being like, there's 1 cucking storyline is not enough. We have to have 2.
We have to have 2. Like, how can people defend WWE when they're like actively trying to get people like to make fun of them? It feels like it feels like they're testing their diehard fan base.
Yeah, I mean that fucking Shorty Gable thing, which I think the Shorty Gable was like, that was like the ultimate like, we want to see how far can we go and people will still defend it. It was like, let's take this really good wrestler with an Olympic background and give him a fucking name about how short he is and see if people will defend it online. Like if I said this on Twitter, but like they do. People do defend it. Like, look, I said this on Twitter. If you are online defending Shorty Gable, you should be checking yourself into a fucking clinic for Stockholm Syndrome. Like, put down the fucking keyboard and get yourself some help, because that's what you need at this point.
Literally, the only excuse for that is if these people are like being paid like a lot of money by Vince McMahon, not just like any amount of money. Like, it has to be like, you know, like more than enough money to live on. Like, it has to be something so ridiculous. Like, it has to be like Saudi money, basically, to get me to buy that people are defending this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something. Shorty Gable. But yeah, Mike Bennett in his thing basically said the reason why he's quitting is because he wants to go work 30-minute matches in front of UK, German, and Japanese crowds. So I don't know. I don't know if I really need to see Mike Bennett in a 30-minute match in Japan anytime soon, but maybe that's coming if he gets released. Who knows?
Yeah.
Look, anything has to be better than the cuck storyline. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess sometimes he just woke up one day and was like, wait a second. This isn't good.
Yeah. It's just like one of those situations where it's like, I guess it's like he became so used to it that he forgot that he didn't have to do this. And then, like, I can't imagine how much amazing it must have felt when he realized that he could quit. Like, that must be the most freeing feeling. Like, I don't have to be this miserable anymore. I can leave.
It's really something, man. I don't even know like what to say anymore about WWE at this point, but it's something.
It's something, yeah.
So I guess that's a good place to wrap up. I didn't ask for questions this time because first, like asking for questions would have basically been spoiling myself. It's the only show we're covering, or the show I hadn't watched yet. So we can wrap it up here. I guess really quickly, remember we have a new channel on the Voice of Wrestling Discord, which just opened up. If you're listening to this and you want to talk to me or to other guests or like, other listeners. So that's a cool place to hang out. Also on the Super J-Cast Discord. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase. Wrestling didn't fit. And that's pretty much it. Why don't you go ahead and plug your Twitter account, Hayley?
Oh yeah. You can follow me at it's Chwerry Colored, CHOERRY, and then colored spelled the British way. Make sure you put.
Can you explain? Can you explain that handle for me? Because I've always wondered, what is that handle?
So originally, my online handle just everywhere was Cherry Colored, which is from a song by the Cocteau Twins, who are my favorite band. But I ended up changing it because I guess Chwerry, like spelled like that, is the stage name of a member of the Korean girl group Luna, Stan Luna, of course. And so I'm a big fan of theirs, and I just thought it would be fun to kind of add that. It didn't really change the name that much, so that's basically it.
I'm glad. I don't know why you mentioning this made me think of this, but if anyone listening is into, like, I guess, Japanese idol music, definitely check out the new Jirina solo album. I don't know if you've heard it yet.
I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, it's so good. Her album's called Privacy. It's like the former guest Taylor actually was the one who brought it up to me, because he's like, this album is so weird because like the first 3 songs sound like they're like Japanese light FM or something, which they totally do, and it's really weird. But then once you get past those first 3 songs, the rest of it is like much more typical like idol J-pop, but it's really, really good. Like there's a couple songs that you will never be able to get out of your head once you hear them. So listening to the Robert.
That's my favorite kind of music, J-pop, that I can't get out of my head.
So you should check out Privacy then. There you go.
I will.
And if you're listening too, check out Privacy. I don't get paid for this, so I'm plugging it anyway. But yeah, that's also like that's the for a wrestling connection. That's like the idol who's like friends with Kenny Omega too. So
yeah.
I guess they're still friends. I don't know. Didn't say
probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, idol connections with wrestling, I guess, which is really interesting. Like Okada's married to like one of my favorite idols, and then like there's Kenny in the Bang Dream commercials. A lot of, I don't know. It's cool though. Love like idol wrestling crossovers.
See, now you should go manage Oka when Oka goes for revenge against Okada for stealing his waifu.
I know. I need to do that.
The two of you can go for revenge together.
Yeah, we can cosplay her characters too. Like he's gonna dress up as Umi from Love Live, like in the whole entire like little idol outfit, and I guess I'll find something to wear another Love Live outfit to wear, and we'll match. It'll be great.
There you go. But because Oka just returned, if people aren't aware, he just showed up in he showed up in RevPro and won their tag titles actually.
Yeah,
kind of cool. So, all right, folks, thank you for listening. Next week we'll be back with another draft episode. So that'll be, that'll be the next episode. We haven't done a draft all year, so we're not doing a whole draft series this year. We're doing just a one-time worldwide draft just to do one this year. I mean, honestly, just because I couldn't think of anything else for next week. Like, there's not a lot going on this week. I didn't want to just talk about the Junior Tag League. So next week, the draft returns, the first worldwide draft, the only draft episode of the week. Have Andrew Rich and Paul Vosch from the VOW Slack coming on, and then I opened it up to the Discords and like the Discord Omakase channels and gave out 2 random spots. So 2 random listeners are coming on. So that'll be pretty cool. But that'll be next week. Until then, Thank you as always for listening, and we will see you next time.